For this video, we're breaking down the explosive allegations that Lil Durk put $1 million hit on Quando Rondo's head. The feds are claiming they have evidence, and the paperwork is circulating everywhere right now. Rima posted on Instagram that the feds reportedly claimed Lil Durk put $1 million bounty on Quando Rondo's head. The post came with actual paperwork stating some serious details. The discovery shows that defendant Banks used his trusted lieutenants, defendant Wilson and co-conspirator 5, to recruit hitmen to fly to Southern California on August 18, 2022 to kill Quando Rondo. Consistent with defendant Banks' promise to reward co-conspirators, defendant Wilson solicited hitmen by promising to pay a $1 million reward on behalf of defendant Banks in exchange for flying to LA to commit the murder. The document also mentions that the government disclosed a list of defendant Banks and OTF's music videos. In these videos, defendant Wilson, Houston, and others allegedly appeared, but the rest of the text gets cut off in the screenshot. We can jump into the comments section real quick. One person is saying free Quando, while other people are reacting with shock. This one person is claiming they got this information from a Vlad interview with Lil Tim. Now, before we get into that interview, let me show you something important. This is the federal website Pacer, where you can look up federal cases and access official court documents. And this is the actual motion filed by the government where this paperwork appears. What they're talking about in this motion is responding to a claim. The defendant's reply brief argues that nowhere does this discovery set forth anything resembling evidence of guilt. It's filled with a lot of legal language, quoting cases and legal precedents. Then this is where we're getting into the actual details. The detailed discovery, together with the government's substantial and organized evidence, shows what the government has alleged. The discovery clearly supports the straightforward theory that defendant Banks told co-conspirators he would reward anyone who helped kill his rival Quando Rondo. The government alleges that defendant Banks and other OTF conspirators attempted to murder Quando in Los Angeles. Even though the co-conspirators killed the other guy, not Quando, defendant Banks nonetheless allegedly rewarded co-conspirators by featuring many of the direct participants in the murder in music videos and rap lyrics in the months following the murder. For example, the government anticipates that a cooperating witness will testify that defendant Banks made it clear to the witness and other OTF members that anyone who killed Quando would be made straight, otherwise known as handsomely rewarded. The discovery also shows that defendant Banks used his trusted lieutenants, and this is where it breaks everything down in detail. This is where we see the exact paperwork Rima posted. Consistent with defendant Banks' promise to reward co-conspirators, defendant Wilson solicited hitmen by promising to pay $1 million on behalf of Banks. Now, this is extremely important to understand because the way it's being projected and reported in the media is that Durk was the one who directly offered the $1 million bounty. As everyone knows, Durk is the only one in this entire camp worth more than $1 million to be able to actually offer that kind of money. But if you look closely at this paperwork, the feds are alleging that Banks was the one offering the hit, but the paperwork is actually stating that defendant Wilson solicited the hitmen by promising to pay $1 million on behalf of Durk. Now, Drew Findling, Durk's lawyer, who also represents other major artists like Megan Thee Stallion and NBA Youngboy, I guarantee you is gonna pick this paperwork apart piece by piece, because it doesn't seem like they have anything directly saying Durk is the one who said this specific statement or that Durk is the one who promised this reward personally. It's a whole lot of other dudes saying things on behalf of Durk allegedly. The feds are basically saying, look, we have a cooperating witness willing to testify that Durk said he was gonna reward people for this. But other than that cooperating witness testimony, it's almost all their word against his. The whole reason these co-conspirators are willing to testify is because they're completely wrapped up in this case themselves and have no other realistic way to get out of their charges. They can't afford $1 million lawyer like Drew Findling to defend them. So the only option they have is to cooperate and say, well, Durk said this, Durk promised that, Durk told us to do this. But when you actually read all the official paperwork, it's saying other people said these things, not Durk directly. It's not saying Durk himself said it with his own mouth. They don't have video footage of Durk saying it. They don't have text messages from Durk's phone. They don't have any direct communications. It's all other people putting the pieces together and making connections. Now, this next part is interesting because this isn't even talking about $1 million bounty on Quando's head. This is actually talking about $1 million bounty allegedly on Lil Tim's head after he killed King Von in that Atlanta shooting.
Well, you were lucky to a certain degree because you're in Georgia and Georgia has a stand your ground law.
Right.
If this had happened in LA or New York, you wouldn't have been able to, have that law work in your benefit. And unfortunately, the law works both ways. Because, Trayvon Martin when George Zimmerman killed him, he used that same law to get off.
That was an absolutely crazy case, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really agree with that perspective though.
Even though I thought that was bullshit, but whatever, it is what it is. But in your case, it actually helped you because it was proven that you were protecting your friend and you were standing your ground, and ultimately they had to drop all the charges. How did Quando react when you finally told him?
I was super happy, but he probably was happier than me. He tried to come through the phone. He like, boy, we finna do this, we finna do that, we finna do this, we finna do that. He making plans for me I ain't even made for my own self. He like, cuz we about to get this real money now, all this type of stuff. Like, he more happier than me.
Well, but at that time, you couldn't actually be around Quando?
No.
Because what, were you under some sort of
That was
guidelines?
Like, yeah.
You can't be around certain people?
Yeah. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like.
What's crazy about that situation too is if you remember the timeline, Durk and Von caught that attempted murder charge in Atlanta, and they weren't allowed to be around each other or communicate with each other at all because they were co-defendants in the same case. So literally in the moments leading up to the ending of Von's life, he couldn't even be physically around Durk due to court orders. Then the same person who kills Von ends up under the exact same legal stipulation with Quando Rondo. They can't be around each other either, but obviously Quando is excited and happy for his friend because his friend essentially defended him in that situation. I'm not gonna say he saved his life because it was a mutual fight, but he defended his friend and then was charged with the murder and beat the case. So of course Quando's gonna be happy and supportive of him.
It's not like he charged with anything. It's not like he my co-defendant. Why I can't be around him? Ain't like he did nothing, but that was one of the restrictions not to be around though.
Now, there was a rumor around this time that there was a $1 million bounty on your head.
Yeah.
Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It's like, damn. At the moment, somebody could really want to take that and really try to do something, but it's like, at the end of the day, is you gonna be able to go back and get that money? Like, is you gonna make it back home? Cause it's like, it's not like I'm about to just sit here and let no one come kill me. So it's like, I'm gonna stand on my 10. I'm gonna stand my ground. So it's like, you could try to do what you're trying to do. But is you gonna be able to go get your money? Like, is you gonna be able to make it back home? Is you ever gonna be able to see the $1 million? Like, you could try though.
Okay, so he's looking at it from the perspective of, I'm not an easy target, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just saw who I'm connected to and what just happened. Are you really gonna be able to just come take me out that easily? I'll say this right now. I disagree and agree with what he said for completely different reasons. I disagree with the whole I'm a killer too, bro mentality, because when they hop out on you, there honestly isn't much you can do in that split second. We've seen this play out in multiple tragic situations, from shootings in Chicago to other high-profile cases. When they jump out of a car and you have 4 or 5 people firing weapons at you in broad daylight, there's nothing your reaction time can do. You might be able to pull your gun out. You might even be able to fire off a shot or two, but when you have 4 different guns all aimed directly at you and they're all going off simultaneously, it's over in seconds. The thing is, you might be riding around and you might even see it coming and think to yourself, oh, they're not gonna do that right here in front of all these people, all these cameras. Then they jump out and it just happens. It just happens in an instant. Your last memory and thought was probably you being logical and thinking they wouldn't do it, and then they do it anyway. Then they all get locked up eventually because there's footage and witnesses everywhere. You're trying to be logical with completely illogical minds who aren't thinking about consequences. Now, the logic that I'm thinking about and want to break down is this. Would the hitmen even realistically be able to see that $1 million and get paid? Because if you want to break things down from a truly logical standpoint, Durk makes all of his money legally through legitimate business ventures. Unless he's doing small local venues where he might be getting paid in cash under the table, he's doing major arenas, major festival performances, and huge shows. They're not paying him cash for those performances, bro. They're signing official contracts with promoters and venues for these major events. All of this money is coming directly into his bank accounts and business accounts that are monitored. They can monitor and track all of this money easily. So realistically, do you think that he's gonna be able to withdraw $1 million in cash and it just disappears with no paper trail and there's no purchase history or record of where it went? Like, he literally had $1 million in cash on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. Let's actually look at that footage real quick. So just that scene right there is supposed to be $1 million in cash on $1 million worth of game. That right there is an absolutely crazy flex in itself. Bro has $1 million just sitting spread out on the table in front of everyone. This scene was also recreated in one of his music videos, so you can see it again. You can see he's got a ton of money stacked on the table with everyone around it. Apparently, some of the people who appear in this video are supposedly involved in the federal murder conspiracy that the feds are talking about in their case. But you can see he's got a massive amount of money on display. Yeah, you can definitely go to the bank and withdraw large amounts of money. That's not difficult to do when you're wealthy. But for that money to just completely disappear from the financial system, to take a legal $1 million that came from legitimate sources, and then there's absolutely no purchase history and it just vanishes into thin air, then there's rumors tying you into allegations that there was $1 million bounty on someone and then that person got attacked. You don't think the federal investigators are gonna put 2 and 2 together immediately? So it's like, from a completely logical standpoint, how do you really think you're gonna get that $1 million, bro? Because realistically, Durk isn't just gonna pull up on you in a private jet and be like, here's $1 million in cash, and you just walk away with $1 million in cash and nobody finds that suspicious at all. It sounds like a lot of complete nonsense if Durk's homies are just saying, yo, you know you're gonna get $1 million if you go handle this situation. You go handle it, and then they're just like, forget you, we're not giving you anything. What can you really do at that point? Realistically, you're not gonna get the money and you can't go to the police and say you didn't get paid for a murder. It doesn't sound like anybody actually got any money in this case. It sounds like the only thing the feds are trying to allege is that some people might have ended up appearing in a music video with OTF members. Other than that, there's not a clear financial transaction that took place anywhere in the evidence, which is exactly what I think Durk's lawyer Drew Findling is gonna target aggressively in court. Nobody ever got paid any money. No direct promise was ever made from Durk's own mouth that they can prove. We can't control the hearsay and rumors that come out of other people's mouths. We can't control what other people say. If someone said somebody would get rewarded for something, that's them making that statement. That's not Durk saying it directly. The person didn't speak on behalf of Durk officially. He spoke on behalf of himself and made his own statements. And I think that is the exact angle Durk's high-powered legal team is gonna take in fighting this case. But there's one more thing I wanna look up and show you before I end this video. Okay, after doing my research and Googles, it would appear that the character John Wick had bounties on his head ranging from $2 million to $14 million to over $20 million in those movies. But I just wanted to see the comparison and contrast, because if it was allegedly $1 million hit and that many people were supposedly trying to collect on it, it's just insane to think about. In the real world situation outside of movies, people can throw around these crazy numbers so casually. Oh, there was $1 million hit on his head, this and that. It's just like, realistically, when have we ever actually heard of that happening? And when has there been a verified case where somebody actually got paid a full $1 million for something like that? I feel like it's extremely easy to say it and make the claim. It's easy to allege it and spread rumors about it, but in reality, it just doesn't happen like that in the real world. Money leaves trails, especially that much money. But hey, let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. It's 1,900 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. Till next time, stay safe out there. If you made it all the way to the end of this breakdown, make sure you smash that like button and let me know what you think about this whole situation. Do you think the feds have a strong case, or is this all just speculation and hearsay? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And share this video with anyone who needs to understand what's really going on with this case.